नमस्कार, अमर के मेरे कार्यक्रम खरी बात में आपका स्वागत है, वेलकम है, खैर मकदम है। मैं विनोद अग्निहोत्री इस बार रूबरू हूँ एक बहुत ही बेहद ख़ास मेहमान से। इस समय जिस तरह से खाड़ी में जो युद्ध चल रहा है, एक तरफ इसराइल और अमेरिका, दूसरी तरफ ईरान, लगातार करीब 24 दिन से भी ज़्यादा हो गए हैं ये लड़ाई जारी है। इस लड़ाई के तमाम आयामों पर बात करने के लिए आज हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं भारत में नई दिल्ली में इजराइल के राजदूत हिज एक्सेलेंसी रूविन अज़ार साहब। सर, मोस्ट वेलकम टू माय प्रोग्राम।
Namaste.
Namaste. Sir, what is going on in the Gulf right
Well,
now?
right now
what is the latest position?
Yes, we have been conducting a very intensive set of strikes against the Iranian regime with the aim of removing mainly two existential threats that we have, the military nuclear program and the ballistic missile program. These tools have been developed by the regime in addition to a third program that they have, is that the program of supporting the proxies of Iran, all with the aim, a declared aim, of exterminating the state of Israel. So the Iranian regime has declared time and again that it is swearing to annihilate the state of Israel. And the so-called supreme leader of Iran has been...
Now he is no more.
Well, but he's been declaring that in meetings with leaders, in public statements, and even there was a square in Tehran that was counting down the days for the existence of the state of Israel. They even had a plan that was supposed to be executed in 2027 to cause a ground invasion of Israel with Hamas in the south and Hezbollah in the north, accompanied with a barrage of thousands and thousands of ballistic missiles, and backed by a military nuclear arsenal that would make them immune from retaliation from the United States or any other country. So this very dangerous program was basically removed now, thanks to this operation that we are taking.
But yesterday, President Trump has announced a 5 days ceasefire, or you can say...
Yeah, it's not a ceasefire,
Yeah.
it's just a 5 days postponement of his threat to hit energy targets in Iran.
Otherwise, the strike is on.
Yes, we are continuing to hit military targets, and only yesterday night we had a very serious campaign from the air against different command and control centers of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps and other industrial defense complexes.
But how long this war will continue? What is your assessment?
Well, we said at the outset that this will take weeks. Fortunately, thanks to the fact that despite the Iranian regime statements that they will not negotiate, they actually started negotiating with President Trump following their request. It means that they are in a very bad situation, that they are under a lot of pressure, and that is a good sign. I think that it gives us hope that we'll be able to get to a diplomatic solution that will basically provide several things. First is to remove all the fissile material out of Iran, to have zero enrichment activities in Iran, to have this ballistic missile program curbed. You probably saw that despite the fact that they have declared that they are not developing intercontinental ballistic missiles, they have fired a 4,000 kilometers missile only a few days back to Diego Garcia. So they are basically threatening the entire region. This covers also the entire region of, by the way, of India as well. Okay? So we have to make sure that this program is curbed, and we want a commitment from them that they will stop supporting these terrorist organizations. They have been supporting
Hezbollah and Houthi
and Hamas, etc., and the militias in Iraq, and etc. So if we get these commitments, I think it will be very easy to get into a diplomatic solution.
But Tehran is saying that during the Geneva talks, they were agreed to all demands and all conditions, and suddenly Israel and US attacked you.
Look, they have been saying a lot of things that are absolute lies. They said that the negotiations were going well, but they were refusing to negotiate their ballistic missile program. They were refusing to negotiate their support for the proxies, and even when it comes to the nuclear file, they were refusing to accept the conditions that were set out by the international community. So, and then they were saying that they are not targeting civilian targets in the Gulf, but they are targeting civilian targets in the Gulf. And they've said that they are firing at military installations in Israel, but they are firing cluster missiles mainly into civilian centers in Israel. So, and they also have been saying that they are not going to negotiate with the United States, but they are negotiating with the United States. So I think everything that is coming from this regime is not trustworthy. Okay, it's very clear, and we have to continue the pressure until they accept.
Did you underestimated Iran's strength of retaliation?
No, I think
because the war is going on still.
Yeah, no.
The entire leadership is wiped out.
Look, but we saw that they still have capabilities to retaliate, but they are minor compared to what they had back in June when we did the first operation, Rising Lion. And now during Roaring Lion, we've seen a very steep decrease in their capability to fire large barrages of missiles. So now they are firing much of a less number of missiles. They're still causing damage because we are capable of intercepting only 90% of them. But compared to the damage we are causing to them, to their infrastructure, military infrastructure in Iran, it's minimal.
But why NATO has refused to come forward to check the Iran? They have closed the Strait of Hormuz, and President Trump asked.
I think that because of their probably because of their incapability to hurt neither Israel or the United States, they have resorted in what they do usually. It's terrorizing everybody, terrorizing countries in the Gulf, trying extortion vis-a-vis the international community by trying to close the Straits of Hormuz. This is completely unacceptable conduct. I think that I'm satisfied that the international community came out with a UN Security Council resolution condemning that, and hopefully we'll have another Security Council resolution that will have a Chapter 7 mandate for international force to deal with this threat over the Straits of Hormuz, because it's completely unacceptable that a country will close a legitimate maritime conduit that is so crucial for the continuation of trade, especially in the energy field.
Is there any back channel diplomacy is working to stop the war, and some because there are news that Pakistan is playing some role, and Russia is behind this back channel diplomacy? Do you have any information?
Look, there are always attempts of back channel diplomacy. I think that the Turks, the Egyptians, the Qataris, and the countries that you mentioned as well have been trying to deal with that. At the end of the day, what is important is the bottom line, is to get a situation in which the American demands, that are basically the demands of the international community, will be met by negotiations. And if this is the case, we will be able to end this war. And if it's not the case, we'll have to continue, at least until we achieve the military targets that we have defined at the outset.
Do you think that India can play a major role?
India is a
because
very...
Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Israel and he assured the support.
India is already playing a very important role in our region. First of all, because there are so many Indians that are living in Israel and the area of the Gulf. Second, because India is the largest or the fastest growing economy today in the world, and has signed so many trade agreements, and gives West Asia the horizon of prosperity, trade, cooperation, industrial cooperation, energy projects, communication projects. So this is, I think, a very positive shadow that we have to untap, But we won't be able to untap it if this area continues to be threatened by this malign regime. So we have to neutralize the threats and give the countries of the region and ourselves the foundations of security and political stability that are required in order to engage with India in economic projects.
Do you have any pressure from the Gulf countries to stop this war? Because they are under attack from the Iran.
We have support from the Gulf countries to finish the job.
To finish the job?
Yes, because this regime has been threatening them. You know, it's not my invention. The Iranian regime attacked Aramco facilities in Saudi Arabia years ago, and they have been destabilizing countries like Bahrain. They have been threatening Saudi Arabia and the UAE through their activities in Yemen. They are supporting terrorist organizations in the Horn of Africa. Okay? All these things are destabilizing the Arab world, not to mention the things that they did to us. They destroyed Lebanon, they tried to destroy Syria, they have destroyed Iraq. Okay? So it's very clear to all the countries in the region that this operation is going to be conducive to the interests of the region. So they might not be shouting this from every place, but believe me, in the quiet diplomacy that we have, we are hearing it all the time.
Because of this war, the Gaza development plan has been, I think, it is disturbed.
Well, the Gaza development plan can go very smoothly. The only thing that has to happen is that Hamas has to agree to what it committed, to renounce their weapons and their grip over the Gaza Strip, and to transfer authority in a real way to the newly appointed technocratic Palestinian government. If they do that, then there is a wide horizon for Gaza.
You have eliminated the entire leadership of Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran, but still they are fighting. What is the strength behind this?
Well, they are still fighting, but their capability to harm us has diminished substantially. Okay, so take for example Hezbollah. They decided to attack us again after we started this operation against Iran, but their firepower has diminished 10 times compared to the firepower they had on the 8th of October. Okay, and when it comes to Hamas, yes, they still exist because they are, it's like a mafia that exists within the Palestinian population, but they are incapable of targeting our cities and our civilians. So I think that our situation from a security point of view has improved significantly, and there are still challenges. The position of the world has changed because now there is international consensus around the 20-point plan of President Trump towards Gaza. There is international consensus regarding the fact that Hezbollah has to disarm itself and give the legitimate, democratically elected Lebanese government the chance to exercise its sovereignty over the entire territory of Lebanon. We just have to make it happen. Okay? As much as diplomacy is used and countries unite to put pressure to execute the very clear diplomatic solutions that were already framed, then the prospects of peace will increase.
Do you think Iran is getting support from China and Russia? Because they are openly siding the Iran.
Yes, there are different parts of kinds of support that they are getting. I think that they would wish they would get much more support, which they are not getting. So it is clear that they are completely isolated, and that if they don't cooperate with the initiative to end this conflict with a clear result, as I mentioned before, removing these threats, they will be in a much larger danger.
Finally, I would like to conclude with last question that United Nations, there are many resolutions in the United Nations, two-nation theory regarding independent Palestine and independent Israel. But Israel is not accepting that solution. Why? There should be, at least there should be a Palestinian nation also.
Well, resolutions, you can pass a lot of resolutions. The question is, what is the situation on the ground? As long as you have within the Palestinian constituency terrorist organizations that have vowed to destroy the state of Israel, there won't be peace, and there won't be two states. Okay? So we have, actually the 7th of October has been the biggest setback on the two-state solution that you can ever imagine. Because we were there before, in the 90s, in the year 2000, in the year 2006, 2008, we offered the Palestinian state. But Hamas came to power, monopolized the situation, killed their own
Leaders.
population, and launched this war of destruction against the state of Israel, backed by the Iranian regime. Okay? So actually the fact that we are now hitting the Iranian regime, I think is going to be conducive maybe to have a better horizon, so people in our region realize that this support for radical terrorist organizations is not going to bring them what they want. And they have to change course, they have to think more positively about the possibility of accepting Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state, and at that point, peace will be reachable.
Peaceful coexistence.
Yes.
Then finally, this war, I think it is very difficult to say that how long this war will continue, because Iran is also fighting and Israel is adamant to achieve the goal. And then world is going to have a very
I don't think that
big crisis,
the war.
crisis.
Yeah, I don't think the war is going to take much more until it ends. We said at the outset this is a matter of weeks, and when we finish achieving our military goals, we'll just stop. The question is whether we're going to have a diplomatic outcome or not. It remains to be seen.
But why United Nations is keeping silence?
I don't think the United Nations is silent. I think that the UN Security Council was very clear in their condemnation of the Iranian aggression.
Yeah, there is a resolution. Okay, sir. His Excellency, thank you for your joining my program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
अगर आप ये वीडियो YouTube पर देख रहे हैं तो हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर बेल आइकन दबाएं, और Facebook पर देख रहे हैं तो हमारे पेज को लाइक करें।